Welcome to Boston, Massachusetts. Today I'm going to walk the entire Freedom Trail. I'm starting here up by the Massachusetts Statehouse. Today is July 16th, 2025, and it's about 80 degrees out. So the Massachusetts Statehouse was designed by famous architect Charles Bulfinch. Construction was completed in 1798. It's the home of the Massachusetts Governor and Massachusetts General Court. It was built on land once owned by John Hancock, Massachusetts' first governor. The dome has undergone many changes over the years and is currently covered in 23 carats of gold as of 1997. And there you go, you can see that amazing dome. Okay, so I'm going to continue down through the Boston Common. I'm actually going to go down the next set of stairs. So we're basically just going to follow the trail on the ground here. So we're going to go down into the Common. Let's see, it's a beautiful day. Pretty muggy, but it's comfortable. Relatively comfortable. So the Boston Common was established in 1634. It's considered the oldest public park in the United States. In 1634, the townspeople of Boston voted to tax each household 6 shillings for the purchase of William Blackstone's land to be used as a community common. And here we are today. We have the public park space of the Boston Common. Looking really nice today. And we are following the trail. There's the Park Street T station over here. Here you go, you can see the Boston Common 1634 sign up here. I think I'm getting it. So next up here is the Park Street Church. You can see it right here. It was nicknamed Brimstone Corner for its fiery sermons, and because it once stored gunpowder in the basement. It was built in 1809 atop Boston's Old Town Grain Storage, or Granary. Abolitionist William Lloyd Garrison demanded an end to the slavery here. And in 1831, My Country 'Tis of Thee was first sung here. And here we can see the front of it. The church's 217-foot steeple was the tallest building in the United States from 1810 to 1828, if you can believe that. Built as a landmark to guide sailors into Boston Harbor. Beautiful old church. And next up, right next to it, is the Granary Burying Ground, which was established in 1660. Some of America's most notable citizens rest here, such as Paul Revere, Samuel Adams, and John Hancock. Also Peter Faneuil of Faneuil Hall fame. Benjamin Franklin's parents are also buried here along, it's named for the 12,000 bushel grain storage building that was once next door, and is of course now the location of the Park Street Church, which we just saw. You can see here. I'll just walk in the front so we can take a look in. Still following the trail. There we go. So here's the Granary Burying Ground. And that big obelisk in the center is Benjamin Franklin's parents. All right, we're going to continue down Tremont Street. You can see the plaque for the Freedom Trail. Next up, you can see way down on the corner of Tremont and School Street is going to be the King's Chapel burying ground. And also the King's Chapel Church, which are right next to each other. I kind of count them as one stop on the Freedom Trail tour here. Okay, so King's Chapel Burying Ground is Boston proper's oldest cemetery, founded in 1630, right when the city was first settled. Despite the name, it actually predates the King's Chapel Church itself. The church was later built next door and also has its own crypt beneath the building. And here is the King's Chapel Burying Ground, oldest cemetery in Boston. You can see the line leads you in here. And next door, which I'll talk about, is the King's Chapel Church. King's Chapel was established in 1686 as the first Anglican congregation in New England. At that time, it was also the first non-sanctioned, non-Puritan church in Boston. The 1754 granite building still stands on the church's original site, the corner of Boston's oldest English burying ground, which we just saw. All right, we're going to continue along. We're going to go down School Street, and you're going to see the first public school in the United States, at least the site of it, as pointed out by this sign. And we also have the Omni Parker House. And the trail keeps going down. So the Boston Latin School, which was on this site, was the first public school in the United States. It was established on April 23rd, 1635. Some of the best known alumni include John Hancock, Samuel Adams, and Benjamin Franklin. And it is now, of course, a Ruth Chris Steakhouse. And I believe there was a Benjamin Franklin statue in here. There it is. Let's take a look at it from here. Okay, we're going to continue along. So we're heading down to Washington Street, and on the corner of Washington and School Street is going to be the old bookstore. Start reading. The old corner bookstore at 283 Washington Street was built in 1718 as a home and apothecary shop. It became a bookstore in 1828, eventually serving as a hub for Boston's literary scene. Famous authors like Hawthorne, Thoreau, and Longfellow had their works published here by Ticknor and Fields. Today it is Chipotle, which you're going to see down on the corner. Got a little ahead of myself, but we'll come down to it. Little Christmas store. Alright, so this is the building of the old bookstore. this way. And there you go, the Old South Meeting House, 310 Washington Street, right across the street there. You can see that the trail takes us over there, and then we'll head back to Faneuil Hall. Built as a Puritan meeting house, this is a building where Samuel Adams gave the signal that started the Boston Tea Party. The Old South Meeting House has been a public museum since 1877, making it one of the earliest museums of American history. Here we go, and we're just going to do a quick turnaround. We'll look up at it. All right. And there we go. There's where the Tea Party began. Actually, we're going to continue to the end of Washington Street, basically to the old Statehouse and the site of the Boston Massacre, which is just behind it. Up some of these beautiful buildings. I think that's One Boston Place up there. Crossing over Water Street. So my goal today is to make it all the way into Charlestown. We're going to be, I believe, out of the busier parts and about within 10 minutes of Boston. This is the real downtown area. Okay, so we're approaching the old Statehouse at 206 Washington Street. Built in 1713, the old Statehouse was called the Townhouse. Served as Boston's center of commerce and government. The first floor housed a merchants' exchange, while the second floor held the seat of colonial and later state governments throughout the 1700s. And here is the old Statehouse right here. Very beautiful old building. And you can see the trail winds down this side. It's skirting along some construction right now. Let's see. So around the corner is the site of the Boston Massacre. A cobblestone circle beneath the balcony of the old Statehouse marks the site of the Boston Massacre. So the Boston Massacre was where 5 colonists were killed by British soldiers on March 5th, 1770, a key spark in the build-up to the American Revolution. From this balcony up here, there's the balcony. The Declaration of Independence was first proclaimed in Boston in 1776. And so this is the actual circle commemorating the Boston Massacre. So this street is State Street. At one time it was called King Street. After the Boston Massacre, Declaration of Independence, and Revolutionary War, they renamed it to State Street because of the connection to the British Empire, which they wanted to cut ties with, basically. Okay, so we're going to continue. Next stop, Faneuil Hall. Okay, so we're going to continue along the trail. You can see it goes here and across the street. There's the Boston Custom House. That clock tower in the bright sunlight. You can see we have a State Street T entrance over here. And there's the Boston City Hall, which is an example of brutalist architecture. Some people hate it, some people love it. Interesting sculpture as always. Okay, so we're approaching Faneuil Hall, which is right around this corner. You can see the trail goes down behind it. So in 1942, Peter Faneuil, one of Boston's wealthiest merchants, built Faneuil Hall as a gift to the city. It served as both a central marketplace and meeting hall where many early protests against British rule were held. There we go. And so, in keeping with the Freedom Trail, I'm going to walk around the back of the Faneuil Hall and come back. And we'll be heading into the North End next. And Quincy Market's in the back here, named after Boston Mayor Josiah Quincy. Looks like the construction's covering some of the trail here. Yeah, okay, I believe the trail goes back up this way, even though I can't see it. And then we can continue on into the North End. I never thought I could feel so free. Okay, so we're going to head down Union Street and then down Marshall Street. Marshall Street is a beautiful cobblestone historical street. If you come here on a weekend evening, it is utterly hopping in this area, as you could imagine. Here we go, we're back on the trail. Here's the Union Oyster House in front of us, which I believe is one of the oldest operating restaurants in the US, if not the oldest operating restaurant. It's a famous restaurant. All right, so you can see the Freedom Trail continues down here. There's the backside of the Bell and Hand Tavern, Green Dragon. Okay, so it continues down here. You can see we continue this way. And we're going to hang a right through the park. Okay, so we're going to continue along. We're going to cross over the Rose Kennedy Greenway, as you can see by this sign here. You can see the fountains are on now. It was a great summer day. Okay, so we're just going to come down here and cross the street. There's the State Street building. All right, we got the walk sign. Okay, we're about to hang a left down to Hanover Street in the north end. And there is one point of interest in the north end that pertains to the Freedom Trail, which is the Paul Revere House, which we'll be coming upon. All right, so you can see the trail continues down here on Hanover. There's a modern pastry across the street. Modern pastry. Okay, so we're just going to cross the street and then we're going to head over to the Paul Revere House. There's a look back up Hanover. There we go, we have the sign for the Paul Revere House right here. There we go. Which I believe is just about right around the corner. Some beautiful views of Boston from the bottom of the street. So I'll start reading now. The Paul Revere House, built around 1680, is the oldest surviving building in downtown Boston. Paul Revere lived here when he made his famous midnight ride in April 1775, warning that the British were coming. And I'm going to cross the street so we can see it better. It's going to be this house right here. So this is Paul Revere's house right here in the frame. This is a beautiful little area. Again, on a weekend night, this place would be absolutely hopping. So we're basically going to cut back over to Hanover Street This is North Square, by the way. Alright, so these sidewalks are kind of tight over there, so I'm just going to walk on this side, but you can see the trail does come back this way. Alright, so we're going to continue down Hanover Street. And the Old North Church is going to be the next stop. And we'll also see the Paul Revere statue. It's not too far as we continue down the Freedom Trail. Not going to lie, it's getting pretty humid out here, but it's still nice. There's a Cantina Italiana. We're crossing Tony DeMarco Way. And it will not be long until we get to the Paul Revere Mall. There you go, make it. It's hard to make the camera expose properly on these very bright days. It's a lot of contrast between the light and the dark. Okay, so you can see the Freedom Trail sign to the Old North Church is where we're going. And you can see it there behind the Paul Revere statue. This is the Paul Revere Mall, and here's the Paul Revere statue. Try to get the whole thing in there. And I believe we just cut through here to Hull Street. This beautiful fountain. Okay, so it looks like the entrance to the back entrance to the Old North Church is cut off, so I'm going to have to go around. You're just going to have to imagine that we walked through here, I think. Anyway, I'm going to go around the block. Okay, so here is the Old North Church. I had to go around the block, but if there weren't construction, you should be able to cut through, but it wasn't a big deal. I just cut around the corners. So established in 1723 as Christ Church, the Old North Church is Boston's oldest surviving church building and home to its longest serving Episcopal congregation. Today it's both a National Historic Landmark and an active place of worship operated by Old North Illuminated. Alright, so our Freedom Trail continues up Hull Street. So Hull Street is actually the first street to get a name in Boston, so it was basically the first officially named street. And there is another stop on this street as well, Copp's Hill Burying Ground. And you can see the Zachem Bridge in the background there, which is pretty cool. It's kind of a cool view of it from here. Okay, so we're approaching the Copp's Hill burying ground, which is starting at this wall here. It was originally called the North Burying Ground. Copp's Hill was founded in 1659 as Boston's second cemetery, probably after the King's Chapel. It's named for William Copp, an early settler and shoemaker who once owned the land. And there is the sign. I'll just walk up to get a little swing of a view. You get kind of a view off the back side of this cemetery too, because it's up on a hill. You can see there. I'm going to turn around and continue to the next. Across the street here, by the way, is called the Skinny House. You can see that really narrow house in there. I forget the exact story, but I believe two brothers were having a squabble, and one just had a little bit of land left and was like, I'm just going to I'll build a house here still, just to use it up. Alright, so we're continuing on the Freedom Trail, and we will be heading into Charlestown next. I believe this garage here too is involved in a 1950s Brinks robbery, and later there was a movie filmed in it, I believe on that same event. This is the North End Garage, aptly named. And the next on the tour is going to be the USS Constitution. It's going to be a bit of a walk between, but I'm going to cover the whole Freedom Trail. So we're just going to go down here and cross the bridge, which should have beautiful views of the Boston Harbor and TD Garden. You can see we're basically near the TD Garden now, and Causeway Street, where the Bruins and Celtics play. But we're not going to go down that block because we're going to cross the bridge into Charlestown. And you can see the Welcome to the North End sign here on the building. And we're basically going to cross over. Should get a grand view of this Aiken Bridge too. Okay, so you can see the trail continues along here over the bridge. This basically connects the north end, or the west end, I guess. It's kind of like in between the north end and west end, and it connects it to Charlestown. And you can see the Bunker Hill Monument over there, which is actually going to be the final stop on this walk. And over here you can get a beautiful view of the Aiken Bridge. It's actually, and the TD Garden. You can see there. iconic. That's a very iconic spot. I believe there's a beautiful waterfront walk over here too, by this harbor, by the harbor. I believe this is still part of the Boston Harbor. Here you go. The William Felton, oh, that's the Bill Russell Bridge. That's great. One of the greatest athletes ever. Boston war, for sure. Oh, here, hold on. You can pause this if you'd like, but there's a little plaque for the Bunker Hill Monument right here. Although we're actually going to go see it in person. Really nice bike lane here. Okay, so the sign for the USS Constitution is here, saying next right, and that's where we're going right now. Here you go. And one more view of the boats here, the harbor. A nice place to hang out on a summer evening. So this path should go off to the right down here and go straight up to the Charlestown shipyard. And I think I see it going to the right down there. Yes, I do. Here you go. Proof we're still on the Freedom Trail. Besides, obviously, the line of bricks in front of us. Not gonna lie, it's real nice to be in the shade right now. Oh, there's a Macambolio's here. Fortunately not open. I don't think I said the time when I took off. It was around 8:45 a.m. and now it's about 9:30 a.m. So I've been walking for about 45 minutes or so. Okay, so we're winding around here. Okay, yeah, here we are. I believe we're nearing the shipyard here. This is, I think I'm crossing Constitution Street or way. There we go, we're at Constitution Wharf in Charlestown. Pretty good walk today. It's a bit of a length up here, but we're closing in. I figured I'd record the whole thing just to give you an idea of what it would be like to actually walk the whole trail in one day. And after this, I think it's just going to be a quick jaunt up to the Bunker Hill Monument, and that will be the last point of interest. I think the trail is to our right, but it's, yeah, I can see it on the other side of the fence there, so we are still in the correct direction. I can see the USS Constitution Museum ahead of us. Yeah, so the trail's still going. Right into the shipyard. You know, the trail goes over there, but I think I'm going to walk over on the sidewalk in the shade. Would it be known? We're still following it. You can see it's out, they put it in the middle of the street here. I think it's just around this corner. Actually, this is a bike lane. I should not walk there. You see a cannon. There's U.S. Constitution Museum.
Visitor, I mean, it's free, so.
There was the visitor center. Ooh. All right, so it's right here. Here's the USS Constitution, and you can see the beautiful skyline behind it. So the USS Constitution was launched on October 21st, 1797. Actually, they have it this cut off so I can get closer to the fence. Anyway, it was nicknamed Old Ironsides because British cannonballs were seen bouncing off its thick wooden hull during battle. The USS Constitution fought in the War of 1812, capturing or defeating numerous British vessels. And I'm just going to check to see if there's any way to get another view of it over here, which I think there is. Yeah, I should get a good view from down here. Look at that beautiful view of Boston. It's just gorgeous. Say what you want. Beautiful. I think Boston is one of the more beautiful cities overall. It's kind of like the cross between a big city and a small city. But here's the full view of the Constitution. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to head back because I think I'm getting a lot of sun right now. And so we're basically just going to try to head up to the Bunker Hill Monument. Wear safety shoes. And actually the trail I think does continue hopefully this one just takes me towards Bunker Hill and it's not just an entrance. But you can see the Freedom Trail kind of hooks into the visitor center here. Okay, so this branch just heads over to the USS Constitution Museum, which you can see there. Okay, so I'm just coming back from where I came from, and as you can see, the trail right here where we entered the shipyard branches off in this direction, which I assume is heading me up to the Bunker Hill Monument, which is up there. And we're gonna conclude our tour when we reach that. I believe we'll go under the bridge and just up the hill. Probably be there in less than 10 more minutes. Tour buses are coming around now. It's now 9:45 a.m. Yes, you got the best views of Boston from Charlestown and parts of Chelsea too. And we're going to go under the highway here, the exit ramp. Looks enticing to jump right into that. With the Sullivan Square bus. Another great view of this Acom. And we're going to head up the hill and we're going to be there. You see, this is the exit ramp from Route 93 into Charlestown. Okay, so this hill is Chestnut Street. You can see these beautiful gorgeous streets in Charlestown here. Reminds me of Beacon Hill a little bit. And it actually hangs a left here over to Adams Street. There's Winthrop Square. And we're just about there. As you can see, this has been a wonderful walk. And when we go back, there is a separate path that's non-continuous, so I just decided to do this one first. And we are basically here. Some of these streets have incredible views too. They're very iconic. You can see this one, you can start seeing the Zachem. And we are here. So the Bunker Hill Monument is a 221-foot tall obelisk. It was built from quarried granite, which took over 17 years to complete. It commemorates the Battle of Bunker Hill, which was fought on June 17th, 1775. That was during the Siege of Boston in the first stage of the American Revolutionary War. The battle is named after Bunker Hill in Charlestown, Massachusetts. And despite that it's named Bunker Hill Monument, this is actually called Breed's Hill where it stands. Here's Colonel William Prescott. Alright, so this is actually the last site on the Freedom Trail tour. There was a little bit more trail, but there's no actual official sites on it. I may just grab it on the way back for completion's sake. There you go, that's 16 spots. You saw all of them today. And the shade feels good. I actually stopped to put on a thick coating of sunblock a little while back there. Oh man, alright, anyway. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe, make sure to comment on it. If you appreciate all my hard work, I'd love to hear about it. And I thank you very much for watching my video. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Bye. Okay, so just to complete the whole trail, I'm going to do this part as well that runs, I think, from here to City Park. But it doesn't have any of the official stops of the Freedom Trail on it, but it's kind of nice to see the whole thing. Yeah, it's a street cleaner behind me. Alright, so we're on Main Street of Charlestown. And I think it's just going to end at the park down here. See some of Boston in the background there. Verizon building. So it's trash day here, recycling. Yeah, this park down here has some spectacular views too. See the Zachem again. Sorry, I'm aiming up. I'm trying to, in some shots, the light is so contrasted that I have to aim up to force it to adjust to the light properly. Beautiful. Go. Okay, I think this is hold on a sec. Sorry. This is City Park in Charlestown, and as you can see, we just passed the very end of the Freedom Trail, or City Square, sorry. We just passed the very end of the Freedom Trail. And so that's a completed Freedom Trail. So again, if you enjoy my video, subscribe, like this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still watching here, I can't tell you how impressed I am, because this is going to be over an hour long. Oh, hey, we're pointing back to the Freedom Trail. I think we've already done it on that side. So I will bid you adieu. Beautiful fountain that I wouldn't mind just diving into right now. And I'll see you next time. Bye.